what else you going to do? It's a Wednesday. You're going to hang out with us on the live stream. Look, I know it's Wednesday. Aren't we normally here on Friday? Yes. But we are taping the Huckabee Show a few days early because of the Labor Day weekend, so all of our staff and team can have an extended weekend like most of America. We treat our people really well. At least we think so. They may have a different opinion, but they get the weekend off. And we're going to be here for a live stream today on Wednesday. So all the more reason that you need to tell people that you're watching and that we are on live. Pam Case is with me, and she is going to be reading questions that you send in. Pam, do you want to tell them what you're going to be doing this weekend?
Yeah, I guess I can.
I think you should.
I should.
Okay,
So,
I mean, it's pretty big news.
Pretty big news. Yeah, I'm about to get married again.
Yep.
And I am marrying my high school sweetheart, first boyfriend in my life, first kiss, first date, first car date, and we're getting married.
So you guys had lives that extended out there, and
yes, over 50 years.
Wow.
He went his way, I went my way, and of course, my husband of 34 years passed away almost 2 years ago.
Yep.
And so God kind of brought somebody back very special in my life, and we're making it official this weekend. So, but I'll be here for the show.
You know, you thought that we were taping early for the wedding, not Labor Day, right?
That's right.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
It's actually Pam's wedding. That's why we're taking the weekend off so she can go get married.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Like you said, you treat your staff well, so thank you.
We'll change the doggone taping schedule to make it work.
Thank you.
Why not? Well, hey, we're very happy that and you don't even have to be married to join the live stream today or to have a good weekend. Now, we'd love you to send questions in the chat. If you want visibility that's a little better, you can send it in the super chat. Moderators watch the chat for the questions. They send them to Pam. She reads them to me. I do my best to respond to as many as we can get to in the course of the live stream. Now, today, we're going to be looking at the fact that over 5,000 secret emails from Joe Biden were found in the National Archives, many of which he was using a pseudonym, a fake name. He is the Pierre Delecto of the Democrats. Do you know who Pierre Delecto was?
Oh, please fill me in.
Mitt Romney had a fake name. He was Pierre Delecto, and he would send out stuff on Twitter and all because he didn't have the guts to put it under his own name, so he made up this character called Pierre Delecto.
We learn something new from you
every day. All the more reason to watch this. Anyway, also, Democrats are gearing up to tap into an old playbook of theirs, and Kamala Harris delivers yet another delicious, big, huge word salad to rival those of the sitting president. All of that on today's live stream. If you have been with us most of the time, you know that we do a pre-show poll. So we ask those of you who are waiting for us to start a little question that we like to find out what's on your mind. So Pam is going to tell us what that pre-show poll is about.
You know, and I chuckle before I read it. It's
probably a good idea.
So we're talking about Joe Biden's pseudonym. So we asked them, the viewers, to help us come up with one. How about this? Sir Sniffs a Lot.
I love that.
Now, this will be a favorite, okay, as voted on by our viewers today.
Okay.
Robin, you blind. Now, see if you can get this one. Peter F. Isle. Okay, we're just going to let that one dangle there for a second. And Shom E. Da Money.
All of
Those
them
are the
good.
4 pseudonyms. They're all good.
I love the first two.
Yes, excuse me. Thank you, control room. Show me de Monet.
De Monet. Oh, the artwork.
De Monet. Yes, it's French. You know,
Hunter blows paint through a straw.
Yes, thank you. So anyway, I knew I would mess it up somehow. So here we go. But the winner is Robin, you blind. 54% of our audience that were viewing at the time said that's their #1 pseudonym for Joe Biden. 29% was Sir Sniffs a Lot, which I really like.
I like that one.
And Show Me de Monet at 9% and Peter F. Isle 8%. So there
I would have probably gone with Sir Sniffs a Lot.
Yeah,
I like that one
too.
They were all good.
Anyway, good work, control room. That was a good poll question today.
You know, one of the things we do, we start with the top comment from last week's live stream, which wasn't all that long ago. It was last Friday, and this is from Aldanova 2565, who said, quote, "Trump is a gladiator for the American people. God bless him." That's probably a good description, a gladiator. And boy, has he got the fight of his life in front of him. Well, I've got a question for you. This is one we'd love to get your comments on. You can send it to us in the chat. Did any of the GOP candidates impress you enough in the debate to consider voting for them? If so, who? Leave your answers in the chat or in the comments section below. Now, we always kind of hammer this importance of subscribing to the channel. Let me do it yet again. Subscribe to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button. Also, touch that notification bell. That way we will let you know when we're doing a live stream. Just like today. If you hadn't subscribed and hit the notification bell, you wouldn't even know we were doing this. Be sure to like and share so that more people will know what we're doing on the live stream. Well, our first story is the Hunter Biden scandal. It just keeps growing and growing. And really, I don't know, I'd call it the Hunter Biden scandal. It's the Joe Biden scandal. Hunter is sort of the ramp onto the freeway, if you will. It's through Hunter that we are learning about the corruption of the entire family. Frankly, that Hunter is a crook, a drug addict, a deadbeat dad, whatever you want to call him, it really is not that big a deal. He's a private citizen. Nobody elected him to anything. Here's the big deal. Connection to his dad means he takes trips on Air Force Two all over the world and makes business deals on Air Force Two with his dad helping to provide the cover of power. And so when Hunter then says that Pop gets a 10% cut out of everything we make, then you were talking influence peddling, money laundering into 20 different corporations, all these little shell, all fake companies, and then not paying taxes on that. I mean, this is, it's beyond amazing.
But other than that,
other than those little things, he's doing a great job over there. Well, anyway, the National Archives found that there were more than 5,000 emails that included one of several of the secret email addresses that he had. You know, he had several pseudonyms and he worked under those. And it may not be all that unusual, but it is if the content of those emails happen to be including Hunter and copying him on official U.S. government business, which is what these emails indicate. In the press conference this week at the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about how's Hunter making all this money and who's paying for that Secret Service detail that takes care of Hunter and protects him at his very expensive digs in Malibu. Let's watch.
Something else. The Secret Service is paying $16,000 a month now to stage near Hunter Biden in Malibu. Who's paying for that?
That's a question for the Secret Service.
So ask the Secret Service. You know, she's the most worthless press secretary because she never answers a question. Mm-hmm. If somebody says, what about the justice? Ask them. What about ask them. Well, no, we're asking you. You're at the podium. It's the press secretary's briefing. So we're asking to see what is the White House perspective, because after all these people work for the White House. It would be nice to know. And when asked about selling access, once again, we get a very detailed and thoughtful answer.
Biden is reportedly selling art to pay for his $15,800 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that people are not going to be buying this art to gain favor with the president?
That is a question for Hunter Biden and his representatives.
It's a question
I know.
of
I hear.
ethics at the White House. We know that one of the art buyers got a job from the Biden administration. Can you guarantee that there is no quid pro quo?
I hear your question. I'm not going to get involved in this. That is a question for Hunter Biden's representatives.
That's actually a question for the White House, because if Hunter Biden is selling that art, and there's an implication that if you buy one of these paintings for $500,000, which is what some of them are going for, think about that. This is a guy that doesn't have an art degree, never painted before in his life. Most of his experience with the straw is using it to sniff some white powder up his nose. Now he's blowing paint through a straw, and he's creating these masterpieces that are worth $500,000 a piece. That, I mean, that alone tells you something. Who bought them? Did they get appointed to things? We know at least one person did get appointed to something. So, I mean, there's some skunky stuff going on here. Yeah. And yeah, the White House should be answering this, and every other reporter in that room ought to be demanding the same thing. It shouldn't be only Peter Doocy from Fox News asking questions like that. That is really disgusting.
I'm beginning to think that inside that notebook of hers, it's blank pages like Michael Knowles' book.
I think it is too. Many answers to give to the press, and it's 300
Just
pages of blank.
Just blank.
Totally blank. If you thought we were finished with COVID, and I think most of us believe that we not only were, but should be, it looks like the Democrats have decided to crank it back up. And it's not that they can create the disease, but they can create the panic, and they can create this sense of we're all going to die if we don't wear their mask and get our 14th vaccination. Let's watch as Democrats are telling us what we must do. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre once again.
I think you've heard from the FDA and CDC. They've made an announcement on the new vaccine. So certainly they said that there'll be an updated vaccine mid-September, I believe. So we know that, as you all know, vaccinations against COVID-19 remains the safest protection for avoiding hospitalization, long-term health outcomes, and death, which is why we are going to be encouraging Americans to stay up to date on their vaccines.
All right. I want to be very clear about something. When the vaccines were first announced, I was quite thrilled about it. And I thought, good, because I had friends that had died. I mean, close friends younger than me, quite a bit younger in some cases, healthy, not even characterized by most of those sort of comorbidities that many people thought were the biggest risk. And they still died, and they died of COVID. And it was a horrible death, weeks in ICU and all this stuff. So I thought, hey, if these vaccines will protect us, let's do it. And then first they said, if you take the vaccine, you won't get COVID. Then later as well, you might get it, it'll be milder. Then if you take it, you can't transmit it. Then, well, you can transmit it, but you won't get it as bad. The bottom line, they didn't know, and they lied to us, and they told us things as if it were certain that they didn't know. I would have been much happier if they'd have just said, look, there's some things about this that's experimental. We're not totally sure. We don't know about long-term effects because we haven't had years to study it. We think it will be helpful. I probably still would have taken it. I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't taking another one right now.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Same.
I still have quite a bit of antibodies in me the last time I had blood work done. And so, I'll tell you what is interesting. You remember how they demonized ivermectin? And many of the press people called it a horse dewormer, which that's like saying penicillin is for animals, because there is an animal version of penicillin, but we don't take the animal version. We take the human version. There is an animal version of ivermectin. That's not what people were taking. They were taking the human version, which has been delivered in about 40 billion doses across the world. I had it when I went to Rwanda 15 years ago because it's considered I had hydroxychloroquine, which is an anti-malaria drug. Both of those, hydrochloroquine, yes, and ivermectin, are very safe, and they have years and years, decades of study in terms of their not only efficacy, but their safety. But for some reason, the people got all upset because Donald Trump mentioned ivermectin as a possible treatment. And so then it became unacceptable. Just a few weeks ago, the CDC came out and said that ivermectin is an effective and acceptable pharmaceutical for COVID. So that's what we'll use. It's just crazy. Now, the White House wants us to be very careful and be mindful that this disease is about to kill us all. But watch Joe Biden in a long line of people and keep an eye on his hands and ask yourself, would you shake hands with this guy? Every third person, he coughs in his hand, and, it's like, man, sanitize that hand And if somebody needs to wear a mask, maybe it's Joe. He's got a coughing fit. Get him some cough medicine. That was disgusting. Also, we know that the school closures have irreparably harmed millions of students across this country. But the White House will not admit that the reason the test scores are at the lowest level in decades is because we shut down the schools and kept kids at home.
Remember, when the president walked in, more than 50% of schools were shut down because of COVID, because the last administration didn't have a plan, didn't have a comprehensive plan to deal with COVID and what it was doing to our economy and what it was doing to our kids. And because the president put schools reopening and businesses reopening and making sure that people got shots in arms, made that a priority, we were able to open up the schools. Now, is there more work to do? Absolutely.
There's more work to do. What they really mean by that is there's more money to spend, and that money comes right out of your pocket. Don't ever forget that. By the way, an interesting study showed that 19 of the 20 states, 19 of the top 20 states, I know it's hard to read that graphic, but just trust me on this, for getting their kids back into school in person, were led by Republican governors. So it was the Republicans who thought, let's get these kids back in school. And many Democrat-led states were the ones who kept their kids out as long as was possible, notably California, New York, and these big blue states. And the results, well, they were disastrous, absolutely disastrous. All right, let's take a couple of questions from you, our wonderful live stream audience.
The questions were great today. Purple Haze is asking, Governor, I have a question. Would it be level playing field if the Republicans did their impeachment inquiry at the same time during the campaign as the Trump trials?
I think that would be lovely.
Brilliant, wouldn't it?
Now, the only problem is the press will not cover the impeachment inquiry. They just won't. They'll ignore it. They'll pretend it's not even happening, and they will go 24/7 on the Trump trials.
All right, going to give you a comment first from this viewer before we ask his question. He says, Mike, I love your show. You tell it like it is. I sure wish you were our president.
Well, me too. You know, I gave it my best shot, not once, but twice, and I had to get out of the race due to illness. Yeah, the voters were sick of me, and I had to quit. So there you go.
We also have a question, though, from Mr. Russell. What is your opinion on why Biden and family are getting away with all the crime and corruption going on?
Oh, it's a simple thing. The press, they hate Donald Trump. They hate conservatives. They hate pro-life people. They hate Christians. They hate Republicans in general, but they hate MAGA Republicans and America First Republicans most of all. And honestly, they don't care what Joe does as long as Joe and the Democrats keep Donald Trump and folks like us from ever being able to have a role in the government. And I think a lot of them know that if Trump were to get back in, knowing now what he knows, some of which he didn't fully understand when he was in there before, I mean, it would be Katie bar the door kind of stuff. And that's why I think he ought to get back in.
So Anne is asking this afternoon, first of all, greetings from Norway, where she's watching today. Would you say that cancel culture is today's Berlin Wall?
That's a great analogy, Anne, and I think in many ways it is, but it's in a way deeper than that. It's a wall, but it's a wall that's really designed to just make people shut up and not question the government, which I guess in some ways the Berlin Wall was the same thing. But it's oppressive, and what we are seeing are reminiscences of the East German Stasi, where you have the police state coming in and arresting any political opponent and criminalizing all their behavior and their speech. That really ought to be concerning. By the way, Anne, you live in a beautiful place. Norway is a lovely country, some of the nicest people, one of the cleanest countries. You just don't see litter and trash anywhere. It's beautiful, just beautiful.
A question for you. The conspirator, a co-conspirator charged along with Trump is still in jail in Atlanta. Can we get him out by fundraising, maybe talking about Harrison Floyd?
I think that's probably right. He's the only African-American that was charged among those 19 people. And interestingly, he was the only one who's jailed. I wonder, why don't we have Al Sharpton going down and throwing a fit? Because the only black person charged in all of that is the only person that was thrown in the pokey and said would be a flight risk. And I think that you'd want to believe maybe Al Sharpton and his so-called action network would take some action and be outraged of that. But they don't care because this guy supported Trump.
Okay, Jay Luther is asking this afternoon, does the governor think Kevin McCarthy will ever mention banning Congress from trading stocks, since he said it would be a priority for him as Speaker?
I hope he will. You know, I want to be a little generous to Kevin. I mean, it's an almost impossible job that he has, because he's got the media and the Democrats that are just a few votes away from taking power in the House. And they're monolithically trying to stop everything he's doing. He's got people within his own caucus, some of whom he will never be fiery enough. And then he has others for whom he is too fiery. So it's a tough job. So I'm going to cut him some slack. And I think he's been better than a lot of people predicted. And as to whether he would ban or push for a ban of House members being able to trade stocks, I hope he does it, because it shouldn't happen. People like Nancy Pelosi have gotten disgustingly rich because, you know, it just so happened that they were so good at picking stocks once they got to Congress. Anybody who believes it's just coincidental, please give me a break. Okay, we're going to pick some new videos here. Joe Biden takes 3/4 of the last month on vacation. He comes back into D.C. for a couple of days, and he can't wait to talk to the reporters, as you can see. You know, it's funny. When Trump would come to or from the helicopter on the South Lawn, he would always walk over and talk to the reporters, even in the rain. And, you know, I used to joke, I said he would stand there so long answering questions that they have to refuel Marine One because he's burned up all the fuel. You know, the press never gave him credit for being so accessible. And he would just sit there and take all the questions, even the most horrible ones and the most antagonistic ones. Joe, he just walks by. Occasionally he'll walk over and make some smirk remark and walk on by. But don't worry if you think that he's just exhausted. I know he's been 3 weeks out of the last 4. He's been on vacation. But this weekend he's going to go back to the beach and get some rest. I know you feel better about that. But if you think he is not energetic, listen to Chris Coons from the Senate, who thinks, my gosh, this guy's, Joe Biden is Superman.
What concerns do you have, if any, and how is the campaign going to take this issue head on, which is a real issue that people are talking about publicly and privately?
Well, President Biden is taking this issue head on by continuing to lead, by continuing to show at home and abroad that he is a capable and effective president. As I just referenced, we haven't had as seasoned and capable a leader on the world stage in many years.
Seasoned and capable world leader on the stage. What stage? Kindergarten program at the Miss Potts school where Jethro goes? This is insane. I got to admire these Democrats. They, with good straight faces, go to the microphones and say stuff like this. And you know they don't believe it. They can't believe it.
Right.
They cannot believe this. Karine Jean-Pierre, always good for a laugh. She talks about how this president is just working so hard.
How it is hard for us to keep up with this president who is constantly working every day to get things done and making sure that we are delivering for the American people. And I think that's what matters. I get it. I get what you're asking me, but the record matters too, Jake.
The only way that they can't keep up with Joe is because they are all on some type of serious heavy-duty Valium. And they have lost all their sense of energy because, Joe calls the lid on the day at 2 in the afternoon. Some days he doesn't go in at all to work. There is nothing on the calendar. And, all the reporters, they get the daily brief as to what the president's doing. And a lot of days it's like, he ain't doing nothing. Ain't nothing on the calendar. But somehow he's really busy at it. I want to take a look at some Kamala Harris insights into how well their administration is doing on the economy.
I want to thank, of course, our nation's champion, President Biden, for your leadership and commitment to lowering costs for working families in every way.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I don't know if you know this, Kamala, but prices are almost 17% higher since Joe Biden took office. Hey, can you put that shot back up there? Because I know you looked at Joe, and Joe looks like he has no idea who Kamala Harris is, much less what she's saying. But if you look behind her and to her left, far right of the screen, can we widen that up a little bit? Do you see that guy? You remember the Addams Family, the character Lurch? Is that Lurch? Is that who that is? Because I swear it looks like it. He looks like, what am I doing here? Who led me into this room? Why am I here? Who's this lady talking? And what on earth are they saying about the economy and how good it is? It's just awkward. Okay, let's get to some more questions.
All right, here's one from Phil Johnson. Is this the end of Joe referring to the emails with fake names?
I don't know. I wish I could say, yes, it is, but here's the problem. Unless you watch maybe Fox News or Newsmax and read certain things like MikeHuckabee.com newsletter every day, or follow John Solomon on Just the News, there's a few places where this is getting reported. But for the most part, it's not getting reported. 0 minutes have been dedicated to this story by ABC, CBS, and NBC, and MSNBC. I will give CBS a little bit of credit. Catherine Herridge has at least covered some of it. But for the most part, the story is being absolutely ignored. So I'd like to say, Phil, yeah, they're going to get to the bottom of it. But I'm not sure. I hope so.
From David White today, asking, when will Ukraine become the 51st state?
Do I maybe detect a bit of sarcasm in the question? Perhaps so.
All right. Laurie Practice today just giving us a comment. What impresses me most, Mr. Huckabee, is that you always maintain your equanimity and manners even when dealing with all of the distasteful and moral incidents that are so commonplace in our current world.
What a kind thing, Laurie, to say. Thank you very much, because one of the things I get back from some people is that I'm a terrible person, I'm a terrible Christian. This is the one that always gets me, as if somehow the person who is giving me the critique is the judge of my soul and spiritual life. But it's like, you worthless Christian, you're a terrible, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I am. So, Laurie, you have no idea how much I appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
Mitchell Tully today, can we get Joe imprisoned for what he's done?
Well, if we had a justice system that was fair and just, we could. But I'll be the first to tell you, my goal would not be to see Joe Biden actually go to prison. It would be that he would resign in disgrace, that he would have to admit the guilt of having made millions and millions of dollars that he lied about and didn't pay taxes on, and would have to spend whatever is left of his life living at the level of the people in this country who are living below the poverty line. Because I think that would be a more just punishment than putting him in some prison cell.
All right, a good discussion topic for this afternoon from Ladybug. Governor Huckabee, who do you think would be a good candidate for a VP position with President Trump?
Oh, boy. And I'm not trying to be evasive, but I don't want to venture to say, I think there's a lot of things that need to play out. I want to see who's going to stand up with and for Trump over the course of the next few months. Because quite frankly, I hope he doesn't pick someone who has said he's a terrible person, he shouldn't be president again, and then that person would suddenly say, oh yeah, he'll be great, and I can't wait to serve with him. So I want it to be somebody who's been consistent. So that eliminates the Chris Christies of the world, even really eliminates Nikki Haley. She's not been overly harsh, but she said we need a new generation, we can't have this distraction. And I like Nikki, but on one hand, she said she wouldn't run against Trump, and then she turned around and did it. I don't like that. I want people to say what they are going to do and keep it that way. And Don't say it if you don't mean it. Don't mean it if you don't say it.
All right, this goes along with it. I have to ask, well, I'm not even asking, I'm just sharing what Tweety Bird is asking. If Trump asked you to be VP, would you?
I don't think he would. I'm a older white guy, so that kind of eliminates me on that standpoint. And frankly, he's got better choices, you know? He's got better choices. It'd be nice if he picked somebody that somewhat balances, either generationally, maybe balances the ticket from a gender standpoint, picks a woman. That'd be fine with me. It'd be great. But I don't want him to just check boxes. You know, I don't want him to do like the Democrats and go say, here's my quota. I got to get a person that's left-handed, that's, you know, female. I don't like that. But if there's somebody who's immensely qualified, who could step in and be president and do it credibly, you know, I'm sure he's got better choices than me.
Okay. Heard it here first. Charles is asking, do you think that term limits should be mandated through the home states?
Yes. I love term limits. I think we should have them. We have them at the executive branch. Why don't we have them in the other two branches of government, the judicial and the legislative? And I am for term limits at the state level and for the federal level. Now, I think the question specifically was, would the states impose it? Let me just say, that has been tried. In fact, my home state of Arkansas was the state that originally did that in 1992, and the courts threw that out, said we could have term limits at the state level, which we do, but you cannot impose a federal limit by the state because it has to be a federal law. So that's already been ruled. The Supreme Court would have to reverse itself in order for that to happen.
Okay, respond to this statement, Governor. Realman Venturing says, quote, anything is better than Trump.
Well, I would disagree with that. But, I mean, you know, a person is certainly free to have that opinion. But I thought Trump did a pretty doggone good job as president. We really were in control of the border for the first time. We had energy independence for the first time in 75 years. We had landmark breakthroughs in diplomacy in the Middle East that had not happened in over 30 years. You know, we had an economy that was booming. The average American family was $4,000 a year better off than they had been under the Obama administration. And now they're $8,400 a year worse off under Joe Biden. So if I look at all those things, I'm thinking, not sure what you don't like. Maybe you don't like him personally, but what he did was pretty doggone good. I want to play this clip. This is Kamala Harris, and we love doing her word salads because they're just, you just can't ignore them. And she's talking to Al Sharpton. He is nodding along. He may be nodding off to sleep, I'm not sure, but see if you make sense of what she says.
You know, let's not be manipulated, and let us not be deterred. We cannot be tired. We cannot be overwhelmed. But let us also, in this moment, understand the significance and the importance of bringing our country together around, again, foundational principles about who we are as America. And I say that as Vice President of the United States.
Foundational principles, due process, equal justice under the law. Maybe that's what she was talking about. Who knows? I've never seen someone strain so hard to sound intelligent who sounds, in fact, absolutely unprepared to lecture third graders on civics. It's stunning. Donald Trump's been in the news quite a bit. He's done a lot of interviews. And in one case, he was asking about how Biden is done as president. Let's watch. Quote of the
Crooked Joe Biden is not only dumb and incompetent, I believe that he has gone mad, a stark, raving lunatic with his horrible and country-threatening environmental open borders and DOJ, FBI weaponization policies. He is a mental catastrophe that is leading our country to hell. We'll end up in World War III because of this man, and for no reason whatsoever. Thank you.
Now, I know that's why a lot of people do not like Donald Trump. because of those blunt comments. I'm so sorry to say this, but that's exactly why I do like Donald Trump. Because with him, you know what he's thinking. He's not polishing it up to make it look pretty. He's just telling it like he truly believes it. And I find that refreshing instead of finding it appalling. So if that bothers you or makes you think less of me, nothing I can do about it. Hey, be sure to leave questions in the comments even after we're off the air. Now, we don't have a live stream this Friday, but we will be back next week on Friday, September the 8th at 1:30. As usual, that's 1:30 Central Time.